Hello and welcome to a Mrreeeee Real Talk. Guys, I thought I'd try and do a deep dive video into one of the M+ dungeons of Waycrest Manor. I thought this would be the first trial to see if people like this kind of content. I know when I'm doing keys with friends, there's so much knowledge I have pushing that 3k score now, and trying to push that now next up to 3.5. I at least have knowledge about probably 56% of the player base and understanding dungeons. So I thought, why not use MDT and let's talk through Waycrest Manor, or dungeons for that sake. So, Waycrest Manor. I think I'm just going to go pool by pool. First thing, of course, we've got these soul essences here. When I'm taking this key, I actually usually pull 1, 2, 3, this pack into this pack. On Fortified Week, I would lust. On Tyrannical, I save, of course, for the first boss. Really, he as a Demon Hunter and really priority, you just mass interrupting, stopping the bolts coming out. From the Rune Weaver, the Etch is really something you have to look out for as a healer. That does a lot of damage and probably where you're going to be using your personals to keep externals to keep people up and healing. And of course, the Captain, you're interrupting Spirited Defense and watching the frontals. So not really once I grab them all together, they get blasted. You're just dodging frontals, personaling the range with externals. Second pull, we're looking at the Acolytes. I usually double pull before the boss. Here again, these frogs do absolutely nothing. There is a bit of damage from Infected Thorn, but I mean, most people can dispel. You're just really controlling and CC with knockups and interrupts, whatever you have. Third pull, the boss. Now, the boss is really difficult in second phase. I recommend holding Lust. A lot of people I see Lust as soon as you get onto the boss. I don't recommend that because someone's going to get mind controlled. So you should really hold Lust for the second, and because not only nobody will get mind controlled, but also the damage in the second phase is extremely high. So in tyrannical weeks, and I will have Lust for this. Of course, the Irish is the one you target. You just try to enter as much as you can. P1, someone's going to get mind controlled, so make sure you're in the melee, because actually you get broken out by damage. So ranges that are way at the back, if you get mind controlled, it's such a pain to walk in. If you're already in the melee, you got people cleaving, boom, mind control broken out instantly. Of course, avoid poisons. Second phase with the don't move, perfect time to lust. That's when your healer is going to be the most detrimental to put healing cooldowns on, because people are trying to stand and cast. Your healer's trying to stand and heal, and you can't move during that mechanic. So, of course, in the second phase with the second witch, that's probably your lust point. Third witch, really, you're just looking at the poisons that are going to come out, and really to get rid of that jagged nettles, you've got to heal them above 90%. So that's a lot of that's the time you want a personal, use a Hellstone, help your healer, top up, because Aura of Thorns is going, but that with jagged is your main problem. So that's probably when you want a personal and use a Hellstone to keep up, and then you kind of rotate through the boss. Next pull, I usually pull these two and the Soul Charmer if it's fortified. If it is Tyrannical Week, this guy is in here. I would, if you do all 5, this gets pretty spicy. These witches, just with their soul bolt and their warding candles, just make mobs so much harder. So depending on what week you're in, I'd be either in tyrannical weeks, I'll pull double the little guys. In fortified, I will just pull the 3 and then 2. Of course, same guys, captains and guards, dodging frontals, interrupting spirit defense. Once we get outside, a bit of fun pull starts to begin. Usually I'll pull this. The Thorn Shapers with the Infected Thorns and Uproots. You don't really want to have 4. This once you get to 4, it becomes a harder pull. There's a lot of casting coming out, especially on Fortified Week. That's a no. Tyrannical, I mean, if you've got a good group, you've got a Demon Hunter or H-Pal, a H-Pal, a prop paladin that you control the interrupts, you could push it here. But I think it's fine anyway. This is a pretty easy keys to time. Like, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's forgiving. So I think you could easily just pull this. I pull this together. Of course, you're interrupting Infected Thorn as much as you can. And then the next pull, I bring in the Matron and the 2 Thorn Shapers. And again, the Matron has been significantly nerfed from when it was back in the day. And, doesn't really do damage to tanks. You're just dodging your feet and, of course, interrupting Infected Thorns and focusing on that interrupt. Now, usually in this path, even if you lust here or here, you've got a bit of time before you hit the boss. On Fortified Week, you probably will have lust up for the Goliath, but on Tyrannical Week, I wouldn't go to the boss next. And I actually, as a Demon Hunter, and if you can pull this as a Paladin, actually pull all this. And if I can add a note here, how do I add a note? I should have learned this before we went to the stream. Insert note, boom, on number 1, great. actually line of sight pull. Everything here should be line of sight pull. So I'll come through, pull this, jump out. I'll have my party and ask my party to be standing here at line of sight. The reason that is that these gore jumpers, the gorgers who jump and do ravaging leap, if you have players out in line of sight when you come around, they're just going to instantly start casting and gorge. So you really need people line of sight here so they don't get instantly cast. And then, of course, your tank's just going to start controlling CC and taking the brunt of it. Really, priority here is infest. That'd be last. I think top priority here is making sure your wretches are interrupted, CC and killing the gorges. From there, I mean, there's not much else. I guess the infest is next. The next pull I do is usually this pull here. And I'll pull out for 8. Same thing here. Of course, you've got the stewards who are doing the AoE interrupt, so look out for that. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy pull. And then pull 5 again. You've got one gorger jumping around. Sorry, the gorges are really the priority here. That bleed is detrimental. So there's 2 gorges here, 2 gorges here, and 2 gorges. Once you start to add 3 or 4 gorges, gets a bit finicky. But again, if you've got the group, if you can dispel bleeds, you've got dwarves, you've got an augmentation, okay, augmentive, then yeah, you could pick up the gorges here. That ravaging leap isn't detrimental, but that's probably how I pull. We then usually on Tyrannical Week, I've been picking up Gluttonous, of course, tanks and boss. You've just got a lot of green group coming out. The more you can trap out the ads, the better. I use my sigil to grip them in at the back so we can CC them. Otherwise, it's a probably easy boss. You're just cutting left and right, dodging. Make sure you're personaling. If you can, to help your healer on the slime explosion. And then, of course, yeah, bring in ads to the tank or CCing as much as possible, traps, whatever you can do to fear. We go back to Soulbound Goliath, and this one is probably the tank killer for Tyrannical Week. I don't know. There's a lot of discussion around the thorns here. Do a lot of damage. If you're lucky enough to bring a mage in your group, soul thorns, they can blink out of it. But really, you're going to focus as a tank. You need to making sure that you're not pulling the boss through the fire to start burning brush, unless soul thorns has just ended the cast and everyone's topped up. I am still tossing between. If I don't have people on comms, I won't push it to 20 to 50 stacks. As a tank, I can probably tank it to 50 stacks even in 24. If I was doing lower keys, 20 and under, I would just tank this boss and never bring him to fire. If I'm doing 21 plus, I'm probably taking him through the fire after the 3rd Soul Thorns, which is around 25 stacks. And hopefully it gives time for the healer, because the more he stacks up, the more damage the fire does. But if you can limit it and personal right, then you can do maybe just 2 fire burning brushes. But it's really important you're stacked as a range. It's really important even for some classes. I know my friend on an augmentive, he personals every chance just in case he gets hit. It does a significant amount of damage. Like, that's probably the most we've lost this key is from this boss. Just from the soul thorns, just from the AoE damage. As a healer, when the guy walks through the fire, there's actually ads that follow you. So as a healer, like monks and stuff, they have to roll get off the boss to heal, which can be a bit complicated. So you got to be wary of that healer. As soon as he walks through, you're popping down a big cooldown. You're looking to move away from those ads that are going to come and melee you. As well as, that big personal heal and managing their cooldowns versus your cooldowns on the soul. So probably the hardest boss in here. Then I go to pull 12. Pretty easy. Again, this is just interrupt infest and then over the Rune Weaver. We go down, which is over here. I like to pull all this. Okay, it's pretty, you've got one guy you've got to interrupt for a defense and watch his Shadow Cleave slam. You've got Etch coming as a single target. This witch you can is really the only witch you're controlling, so using all your interrupts there. Using one person sit on for the Spirited, or if you have a mage, you could spell steal. You don't have to worry about that. Or you've got your matron and one person holding out for the volley. So really, you got someone's holding for volley. CC and stun will control the thorn, and then get some person either stealing or the captain, and that's pretty much a big pull. The only thing that sucks with this pull, of course, is the room. Terribly hard to see. Then I do this pull here, pretty simple. We've seen pretty much all the mobs now. I even a faceless maiden, maybe we've not. And I burn that down pretty quickly with just CC AoE. You see, the horrific visage with the AoE fear is now there, but again, that's a pretty basic pull. It's not really end all. We're getting to the final room now. This is probably in fortified the pack that will kill you. That is because you have 2 of these soul charmers. So that's 2 cell bolts and 50% reduction. I actually prefer to pull them separately. Unless I have a really strong if I have people on comms, maybe not. On tyrannical I pull on fortified I won't pull them together. On tyrannical I will. Plus 22 keys though, I won't pull them. That is just such a painful. The trick is here, I put 2 notes down. There are 2 large pillars, and what actually you can do is if you're getting targeted by soul volley or soul bolt and nobody can interrupt, you can actually line of sight on those 2 pillars and you won't get hit. And that also means as tanks you can move. If you need to move them out of the candles, you can use those 2 pillars. None of these in the room will do it, a line of sight, but those 2 pillars. That's important to know in the Waycrest. We then go to the boss, of course. This is pretty easy. I think the instant dispelling for the virulent pathogen, everyone's spread out. Hopefully the only time is they've got a lot of melee, they're spread out evenly so the healer can instantly dispel. I wouldn't, well, I don't know, but you can reflect it as a warrior. I've seen that, and it instantly spreads to your melee. So if it's just you and a tank, and the tank can take the damage, you can definitely spell reflect it. Range can actually interrupt the wailing chords from the Lady Waycrest if they have long enough range. If you're an evoker, you cannot, sadly. And I guess it's a pretty burn boss. So you're avoiding swirls and you're just burning the 2. I, on High Tyrannical, think this is a better boss to lust on. I think there's a lot of damage coming out than the final. Of course, then we group down for the horrors. We've hit our 100%. And then onto our final boss, which is Gorak. I think it's just, tank and spank. Everyone uses up something after the interrupt. You really need to make sure that you're stunning Dread Essence so that nobody gets stunned. So they finish their cast. A lot of people calling out chain, calling out single stuns. That's your priority, to make sure nobody gets hit by that. And somebody's always picking up the Flame Alchemist. So stun the ads, burn him, throw the potion. And yeah, I think that's pretty much hopefully a deeper understanding of the pools, the bosses, the key interrupts, CCs, healing cooldowns, what's going to kill you in Tyrannical and Fortified. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, make some comments of what I can do better. And yeah, I'll see you for another Real Talk. Peace out, guys.